one of the really interesting things to me is that we know about the human rights violations in China. I mean, these are not hidden. They don't even pretend they're not happening. And yet there seems to be kind of a media blackout on these things. So we're told they're happening. We have some great illustrations of this happening. You mentioned genocide in several places. And yet they're being paid very little attention. In fact, we have superstars in the United States like LeBron James and others who will stand up and say, no, 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 it's not that bad. They're being misrepresented. They're great people. I know money drives a lot of that, but can you speak to, when we talk about these human rights violations, that sounds very, very nice. It's a very nice way of saying it. What is happening in China, A, and why won't people call that out, B?
Well, what is happening in China is what we've seen happen throughout history. One sort of ethnic majority or minority sometimes wants just to dominate another. And this is what's happening in China. This is what happened in Tibet. This is now what's happening in East Turkestan. And they use methods of terror, certainly. They reckon that upwards of 2 million of these people, these Uyghurs, have been placed in what are euphemistically called technical, re-education camps, right, as if they're going to learn welding.
Yeah.
And they're being force-fed alcohol. They're being force-fed pork against their beliefs. In many of the female camps, the women are being raped. Even the men are being raped. This is something out of a dystopian future, or quite frankly, a recent past, which makes it all the more horrifying because I was raised, as I'm sure you both were, with the mantra of never again, and here we are watching it happening. And now there are movements afoot to try and keep the cotton from East Turkestan from reaching the global markets or reaching the markets inside China where it's manufactured into cloth. I think it's about a fifth or a sixth, and maybe 15% of the global cotton supply comes from this region. And
wow,
I guess that's one thing, the way that the market is pushing back. But really, I think all of us as Americans, as human beings, have to ask ourselves the ethical question: how can we ethically continue to do business with a criminal regime?
Yeah.
Like this, it has to be collapsed, one way or the other.
Who are the Uyghurs? I know we hear that a lot. A lot of people don't know who that is. Who as a people group, who is that?
Well, they are an ethnic group that speak a language that has a lot of connections to Turkish, actually, and they consider themselves part of the stand countries that you see stretch away from them to the east on the map. They're the furthest eastern, live in the furthest eastern region of China, and for a brief period of time, like many places in the interwar period of World War One and Two, they sort of declared their independence, and then in 1949, the Chinese decided, no, we're going to absorb you. Now, what they're doing there goes beyond just the concentration camps, the forced sterilization of people thought to be a danger, people who have too many children, whatever excuse they wish to make. What they've done there, and what they also did in Tibet, was they bring in the Han Chinese, like the ethnic Chinese. So if there are about 12 million Uyghurs, but I bring in 25 million or 30 million Han Chinese, well, whether we're suppressing your culture officially or not, by destroying mosques, destroying places of worship, disarming the people 100%, regulating everything, they're selling oil at a liter at a time. All of these things work ultimately to destroy this ethnicity. And, there have been murders, there have been, as I said, rapes, there have been forced sterilizations, there have been many accounts that they have been using some of these people as repositories for donor organs, things like that. Every horror that the modern imagination could come up with have been perpetrated on these people, and yet the world sits by and counts their money. It's quite horrifying, but there are many recent historical analogies that one could make that make it to me even more horrifying.